what's up guys? So I'm going to go through and redo some of my old guides that are more updated because stuff has changed in the game and my perspective on things have changed a little bit. So I want to kind of just go through and update things, and what better to start with than gear, you know, since Hunt Event is coming around and it's been around and people probably have a lot of crafting to do, and there's a 5-day Hunt Event coming up, so figured I'd try and help people figure out like what kind of gear they should be keeping, what kind of gear they should be rolling, and etc. Right? And even those like niche pieces that don't really expect to be good but can be good for a certain unit, you know, because there's a lot of gear like that out there. And then we have the gems to reforge stats now. We have conversion. Game's in a pretty good spot gearing wise. It's a lot better than what it was when I was playing. I've gotten some of my best pieces since I've been back. I've been back about 6 weeks or so, and I've drastically improved the quality of the gear on my account. Thanks to this, you know, the new systems and the way the game is now. So let's go ahead and dive into... Just go ahead and dive into my bags real quick. We can go through the basics. I'm sure you guys know, you know, what can roll, you know, the ranges and etc. For anyone that doesn't know, I'll throw up a picture of it right here, and then you guys can pause it if you're not sure on anything. But going forward here, so obviously you have your different sets. You can make things to plus 90, and you got, you know, event pieces and conquest pieces and etc. We're not going to go into where you get the gear. We're just going to go into what you should what you should be looking for to roll, and like when should you quit rolling on it? When is a piece dead? That's the goal of this video. So for instance here, you can see that I have pieces here at plus 9, plus 10, plus 12. And you're probably wondering, well, why aren't these maxed out, you know, and like what kind of stats do these things have? So we can go through those first. You can kind of see what I'm still rolling on as a late game player. See this, I think it started out as a 3 crit, max attack, 3 speed. So obviously, like, speed checking is a very important thing to do. If you have a purple piece with 3 or 4 speed on it, you should probably speed check it. I don't really expect 2 speed unless it's on a speed set and the other 2 stats are good as well, because I don't want to get like a mediocre speed piece and the other 2 stats are shit. If you really have bad speed gear, which I kind of do, you probably should roll every single piece of speed gear that you find, but I don't want to waste resources on something that's not going to be really good. So like this is something that I potentially keep rolling. It sucks that it's a purple piece. I don't really like rolling purple gear anymore, but like for an early game account, this would be a very good piece of gear to roll. And then the same thing goes here. With speed checking this, it's rolling decently high in health. This is a 22 out of a max 24. And an ER roll, I actually need weapons like this for my abundance of soul weavers, so that's why this is locked. I'm going to continue rolling it. Then we have another thing here. Low rolled crit damage here, but at high rolled attack. It's got decent subs overall. This is worth just rolling. That's why it's still locked. I just hit it a couple times to see what happened. You know, average 7.5 here, average of 5. This is on the low end of crit damage, but on the high end of attack. It sucks that it's crit set, but you know, it is what it is. But you kind of get the gist of the stuff I'm rolling. See, like here I hit effectiveness twice, which is unfortunate. I mean, this piece could still have some potential. Like, it could still hit 4 speed, you know, and go up to 15, and then this could be an 18 speed weapon with 21 effectiveness. So you kind of got to look at the possibilities. When you want to keep on rolling with something, you just got to tell yourself, okay, what can this look like at max level? This is a 21 out of a possible 24, so it's high rolled. It's got a max crit chance roll, and 6 is an average roll for attack. So typically you want to look for high rolled pieces. This is still a high rolled piece that could end up being very good for any kind of debuffer unit. If I hit speed a lot, or if it hits a ton more effectiveness, then it could still be good for, you know, a mid-range unit that needs to debuff. Like if I want to build like an A Tywin or something, you know, that can debuff. And then it still has, you know, damage stats. Ideally like this, I wouldn't want it to roll in different spots. So at this point of the piece of gear, you want to min-max your stats. So ideally, like, I don't hit attack, and then I'm able to re-roll the attack to something else, like health or something, if it goes full effectiveness, because I won't need the attack in that situation, right? Or I would want to dodge, you know, get into attack maybe, and then get crit, and then it could be maybe used for, like, carrot, for example. You know, it really just depends on how stuff rolls to where it's going to go. And that's thanks to, like, the new modifying thing, right? These things. So like I could effectively, like, let's say in a perfect world this does hit 18 speed at plus 15 when I 90 it. Then I take this and I make it, you know, health percent. And I give it to, like, you know, Athletica or something. Or if I want to use it for, like, Cerise, you know, it's the same example. You probably want to keep the crit there because, you know, CDOM synergy. But yeah, that's just kind of like another random piece of gear. This one, it's another instance of, you know, it's just like this. I need swords like this right now. That's why I'm rolling these. As for the rolls, 3.5, 19 out of a possible 24. I'm missing 6% there, or 5% there. It's not that great, and this is a low roll. So this one, like, I'll probably see what it rolls down here. If it hits flat health or something, maybe I take it to max. But this is kind of, like, for an earlier game player, this is pretty decent. But, like, someone at my level, this is kind of low rolled, and it's not looking very promising, right? It's the difference between purple and red gear. And here's another piece. He's just holding this. Here, this is a 19 out of 21, right? And then an 8 out of 8. And then it's got a low roll attack. But it high rolled so far. It's just locked. I don't know if I'm going to max it out. It's just one of those random pieces of gear. Like I said, for earlier game players, this might be really good, you know? And then coming down over to here, it's kind of the same thing here. See, here we're missing a roll. Because this is a 14 out of a possible 21. Or this is a 16 out of a possible 24, right? So we're at plus 9, but we're missing an entire roll here. That effectively downgrades the quality of the gear to purple. That's something you don't want to happen when you're rolling gear. This piece still has, you know, a little bit of potential because, you know, high rolled. It's right now it's just a high rolled purple piece, which isn't a bad thing. So like this could also be used on something like a Tywin or something like that. You know, if you're trying to build some kind of damage and some kind of effectiveness. But the problem is with reforges. You're going to want to reforge generally most of the time something that's only been rolled into once. That way you don't lose value. Because the more time something has been rolled into when you use a modification gem, you actually lose rolls. If let's say like this were to max out and I would hit nothing but crit damage, like I would get more value out of reforging the health and the speed than I would the effectiveness because the effectiveness has 2 rolls in it. Or in this case it might have 3. I'm not sure. But that's kind of how the gems work. So basically, in a perfect world, what do we have over here? You know, it's another one that's kind of the same, right? This hit this 3 times. It hit this once. Ideally, like with F-Res, you don't want to hit it when you have other subs like this. And then in another perfect world, I hit all health and all F-Res. This is just a wonky piece of gear that I'm probably not going to max out. Because it's not super high rolled. It's not terrible, though. I mean, this is high rolled. Maybe I will hit it again. But if I hit F-Res one more time, this piece is trashed. Right? It's got max attack, max health. If I hit 16 here, 16 here, it turns into a pretty decent piece of gear. And I could change this to crit or something, right? So it's still usable. Same thing. Hit set in general is usually a speed check, right? You just want to speed check this kind of gear. If you're not hitting it, then trash it, you know? I think I hit a 4 here. No, there's no way because there's 1 roll here. Well, I guess with 3 min rolls that could have been a 13 too, and maybe I hit 4 here. I don't remember. I think it was a 4 or a 3, and I hit 3 and a 2 or something. And I think there's 2 rolls in the speed. That's why I kept going, and then I hit this. Oh wait, no, this is crit chance, not crit damage. Yeah, there's 2 rolls in here and 1 in here. So it makes it a little bit better, but I still don't think I'm gonna max this piece of gear. But yeah, going on to like how do you properly speed check things. I don't know if I have any pieces to speed check. Like here's a speed check right here, right? Just take it. I just do this. That's another speed check. That's another speed check. That's trash. I'm not even gonna bother holding on to it. You can obviously dump those things, but see that roll there, that killed it for me because you want to look at like where can this piece of gear go? Okay, so in a perfect world, I hit 8 twice here. Or I hit 8 total, right? When I get to plus 9. Then the next roll goes down here. So that's 12. The max this can go to is 16. And then after a reforge, it goes to, I think, 19, right? Yeah. But that's in a perfect world, and the other stats aren't great. I guess it wouldn't be too bad. Maybe, like, if you're really desperate for this kind of gear, you could take it to plus 6. and see if it actually hits it, right? So if this hits 8, then we can keep going. Okay, well, there's a perfect example. Let's just go ahead and use this. And then in this situation, I would have to hit 12 here. Like, I would have to for me to keep going. Okay, then I hit a low crit roll. See, now this piece is dead for me. Now the max it can go is 12. And then I have to reforge 15, which is just not worth it for me. But you can hit this twice to see if it does hit 8 on that second roll, because, you know, potentially it could have hit 2 and then 3, right? And then it's only 1 speed faster. The difference is on reforge, you get 1 extra speed, because it counts, like with speed, it's how many times you roll into it. So if you roll 4 into speed, you get 4 extra speed on reforge, which is really nice. Which I did that on a piece of gear earlier today. This piece I rolled today. This is like perfect world, right? You get the damage stats. This is like an ideal damage, like a unit that you want to go fast. These are the kind of subs you're looking for. This was originally effectiveness, I believe, right? I low rolled on this, so I need to get more crit gems. But I think it started at 3 speed, and then I just YOLO'd it, and it went straight to I think it went to 12 at +9, which is pretty good. And then I hit it again. I think it was 18. It was 18 at +12, and then I hit the max crit damage roll on this. So that's, remember what I was talking about earlier, is like when you reforge something, you want to reforge like one of the stats that doesn't get hit, right? So I didn't hit the effectiveness here, so I changed it to crit. But at the same time, hitting speed 4 times, you know, hitting it 5 times, like sure, it's great. You have a super fast piece of gear, but if you're looking to put it on a damage unit, you're not going to get the extra 1 speed from reforge. So it's actually better to hit one of the damage stats 1 time, which was like perfect situation here. So I hit the max crit damage roll. I didn't lose out on the 1 speed here, reforged, for hitting it. Granted, it would have been like a 27 speed piece if I hit another 4, which would have been really cool. But if I'm looking to get some damage on those fast units, then you want to hit that 1 time. So that's a perfect piece of gear. Not perfect in the sense, you know, like obviously I'm missing, you know, 4% attack here and some crit here, but it's in the sense, you know, perfect stat line. And then I had another one in here. Where is it at? This one? Yeah. Rolled another fast piece. So we all know I'm not very famous for getting speed gear, so I'm getting a couple pieces, which is kind of nice. You know, it's the same situation here. I low rolled here, hit this the same amount of times, reforged the 1 stat into crit. That's how you build like fast DPS gear, right? For other niche pieces, I kind of want to talk about niche pieces real quick. Pieces like, you're not sure if you should roll this. And then those come to like flat main stat gears, right? So like if we look at main stat here and we just go defense, obviously there's no helms, but like necklaces and, you know, rings and boots can start with flat defense, right? So as you can see, I have 1 pair of boots down here. Flat defense is really good on thieves, okay? So if you find a piece of gear like this, with subs like this, it's not terrible to roll. You still want it high rolled. So like this is pretty high rolled. This is a 4. I'm not sure how many times I rolled into this, but you know, you can tell it's a pretty high rolled piece of gear, and then like thieves really take advantage of the flat defense. So like gear like this is pretty good to roll. You just want to see if it rolls high. You know, refer back to that sheet I posted in here earlier if you're unsure like what's high and what's not. And the same thing goes for rings, right? This was a speed check. I think I'm going to get rid of this piece of gear. It's not great. This low rolled. I just threw like one of the lesser gems in it to see if it was usable, at least for now. It's not good. And then here's another example. I rolled this today, I believe. It's got all these subs again. Flat defense. It's usable on a thief. Mainly Rylet and Violet. Maybe Mursa. Stuff that has evasion. That can get away with not running immunity for the crit set, right? This stuff on speed set's fine. I have another one on lifesteal, I think. No, I have a like big flat defenses, right? So if we go substat here and we go to defense flat, and we go to all, it's not sorting by the highest. See, 165 flat defense. Flat defense is very good for damage units. So like looking at stuff like this, like some people would look at this and be like, whatever. I rolled this and I hit flat defense, I think, twice starting out. And a lot of people would trash the gear after that. Don't do that. Like flat defense is very good for a lot of bruiser units. Yeah, that's basically it. Like I just wanted to go over that, you know? That's just kind of how I do my gear now. This is what I'm looking at. Here's another piece of really high flat defense. Flat defense is very strong for thieves. Don't overlook it. And then there's another, I guess I can talk about flat attack too. So like main stat, there's flat attack. Those exist as well, you know? Like here I got a speed checked piece. It's got flat attack main stat, but you know, I rolled 18 speed. Well, it didn't roll 18 speed. It upgraded 18 speed. It hit a high effectiveness, and I reforged this to attack just to give her a little bit more damage, because what else am I going to use this for, right? I could have gave her a little bit more bulk, but it wouldn't made that much of a difference. Might as well make her do a little bit more damage. She's plus 14 for me, so yeah, there's that. And then here's a boot example, you know, flat attack, and then a sub here. Obviously I don't use these. I rolled these. I could reforge this in the defense. And then like a unit with low base attack that I don't need to go super fast can use this. As far as I know, there's nothing right now that absolutely needs it, but the gear could be usable later. You know, I'm pretty good at hoarding stuff when it comes to that. Right now it's really easy to optimize stats. So let's do this real quick, right? So like Charlotte, for example. Charlotte and her kit does not need crit, right? Always results in critical hit. Always results in critical hit. So if you go through and you look at her gear, there's no crit in it. I mean, there's a little bit on her neck, but that's unavoidable right now. But see, like, there's no crit, right? And that's how you kind of do that. There's crit here because I can't reforge the crit away. This neck just kind of rolled unfortunate, but it was a decent neck, so I was like, fuck it, I'll change something to attack. Because I think this was effect resistance or something, so it just wasn't very good. It wasn't good for MLkin because it had speed and crit on it, so like I just re-rolled the effectiveness to attack, and it's at least a usable piece. It's not great, but it's usable. But yeah, basically just trying to optimize your stats. Same thing with like Carrot here. She's getting crit because I'm not going to reforge the crit off of this because it's like literally like a 1% off perfect piece of gear, and I think there's crit on another piece too. Yeah, the sword. Another really high gear score sword that I'm not going to roll the crit off just to optimize her a little bit more. Just in case I want to use this gear on somebody else. Like, I could roll this to flat attack, for example, right? And I could change this to like effectiveness. But it's... Or a flat health or flat defense, make her a little tankier. I don't think it's really needed. You know, her critting isn't terrible. I mean, critting on S1, critting on S3, it's a little bit more damage. Unless you're dealing with like MLkin or something, but yeah. Just look for stuff like this. Like, people see flats and they just completely turn down gear. Don't do that. Just don't do that. If it has two good stats that are usable together, test roll it. If it has speed, speed check it. Every single time. You never know what you're going to end up with. Like, I think it's her boots. No, it was Kwazu's boots. Like my Kwazu's boots here. Look at these. The average person would be like, I'm not rolling that. These suck. But they're perfect for him. Right? These boots are insane. High rolled attack. Fucking decent rolls in health. Just high rolled. And then the flats are usable too. Like, I'd rather have these here than crit damage. I don't need those stats on him. So, just be on the lookout for gear like that. If you're unsure, you know, ask around. Ask on a stream, you know, is this worth rolling? A lot of top-end streamers will probably let you know if it's trash or not. Typically, you just want to steer away with stuff that has, you know, both effect resistance and effectiveness. Like, if you hit both of those stats in a piece of gear, usually it's dead. It's one of the best tips I can give. If you're rolling a piece of gear and it has great stats and it has FRES and effectiveness, if you hit both of those, just trash it. Typically, you don't want effectiveness on damage gear either. The only exception is for this motherfucker, right? He's the exception for a lot of gear. Like weird gear like this. It's perfect for MLkin. You know, effect resist, crit damage, health, defense. This is MLkin gear to the max. So he's like the one exception, weird exception, okay? But yeah, this video went on way longer than I thought it was going to. So let me know if this helped you out. If you learned anything, if you didn't learn anything, let me know. Let me know what guide you want me to revisit. And I'll see what I can do about that. I'm definitely going to go over artifacts. I'm going to go over like Molagora usage, you know, resource management, all that kind of stuff. I'm just going to redo all my guides for 2021. And yeah. So if you want to see some more of those, drop that sub, hit the like button, drop me a comment for the algorithm. I'd really appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.